Hello, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Tonight, we will slowly drift into the vast and mesmerizing world of desert formation and global landscapes. Imagine the Earth's surface stretching wide, where sand, stone, and sparse vegetation tell stories shaped over millennia. Feel the warmth of distant sunbeams brushing across golden dunes, while winds whisper secrets of shifting sands and hidden valleys. Let your mind wander over continents, tracing where deserts appear, from sun-baked Sahara plains to the windswept deserts of Central Asia. Each dune, each rock, each subtle ripple carries the memory of countless years of Earth's transformation. As you breathe in and out, allow the openness of these spaces to mirror a sense of freedom and calm within you. If you enjoy these relaxing moments, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and turning on all notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. But for now, just breathe. Let your body relax, release any tension, and allow your mind to drift. Let's begin. Deserts are not defined simply by heat, but by the scarcity of precipitation, with most receiving less than 250 millimeters of rainfall each year, creating landscapes where evaporation often exceeds incoming moisture. This imbalance shapes every detail, from cracked earth to drifting dunes, and establishes deserts not just as places, but as ongoing processes governed by atmospheric circulation, positioning many of them beneath descending air masses in the subtropics. That descending air, part of what scientists call the Hadley cell circulation, compresses and warms as it sinks, preventing clouds from forming and rain from falling. Over time, this persistent dryness transforms regions into deserts, even when temperatures vary dramatically, explaining why some deserts, like Antarctica, remain among the driest places on Earth, despite their freezing conditions and long periods of darkness. In hot deserts such as the Sahara, surface temperatures can exceed 50 degrees Celsius during the day, yet plunge dramatically at night due to the lack of moisture in the air, which otherwise would trap heat. This rapid cooling creates a daily rhythm of expansion and contraction in rocks, slowly fracturing them into sand and dust, contributing to the desert's gradual reshaping over centuries. The sand that defines many deserts is often the product of millions of years of weathering, where wind acts as both sculptor and transporter, lifting tiny grains and carrying them across vast distances. These grains collide and grind against each other, becoming smoother and more rounded, eventually forming the iconic dunes that ripple across desert landscapes like frozen waves. Dunes themselves are not static. They migrate slowly across the terrain, driven by prevailing winds that push sand up their gentle slopes before it avalanches down the steeper side. Some dunes can move several meters each year, swallowing vegetation, reshaping terrain, and even threatening human settlements that lie in their gradual path. Not all deserts are sandy, however, as many are dominated by rocky plateaus, gravel plains, or salt flats where water once existed. These regions, often called reg deserts, reveal a different aspect of arid environments, where wind has stripped away finer particles, leaving behind a surface armored with stones that protect the ground beneath from further erosion. Salt flats, or playas, form in desert basins, where water occasionally collects and then evaporates, leaving behind mineral deposits that crystallize into intricate patterns. These surfaces can appear almost mirror-like when briefly covered by shallow water, reflecting the sky in a way that creates a surreal sense of infinite space. Some deserts owe their existence to rain shadows, where mountain ranges block moist air from reaching inland regions. As air rises over the mountains, it cools and releases precipitation on one side, leaving the other side dry and barren, creating deserts such as those found east of major ranges like the Andes or the Sierra Nevada. Over geological time, deserts can expand or contract depending on climate shifts, with ice ages and warming periods altering global wind patterns and precipitation zones. What is desert today may once have been fertile land, and evidence of ancient rivers and lakes can still be found buried beneath layers of sand and sediment. Life in deserts often operates on hidden schedules, with many plants and animals remaining dormant during prolonged dry periods, only to emerge rapidly after rare rainfall events. These sudden bursts of activity can transform the landscape with blooming flowers, insect swarms, and feeding animals, creating brief but intense cycles of life. Desert plants have evolved remarkable strategies to conserve water, such as thick, waxy surfaces that reduce evaporation, or deep root systems that tap into underground moisture. Some species can absorb water through their leaves, while others store it in swollen tissues, allowing them to survive long periods without rain. Animals in deserts often avoid the harshest conditions by becoming nocturnal, emerging under cooler nighttime temperatures to hunt and forage. This behavioral adaptation reduces water loss and exposure to heat, demonstrating how survival in deserts often depends as much on timing as on physical resilience. Certain desert animals can go without drinking water for extended periods, deriving moisture entirely from their food. Creatures like kangaroo rats metabolize dry seeds in ways that produce water internally, allowing them to thrive in environments where liquid water is almost non-existent. Wind erosion in deserts can create striking landforms such as yardangs, elongated ridges carved into rock by persistent winds carrying abrasive particles. These formations often align with prevailing wind directions, serving as visible records of long-term atmospheric patterns etched into the Earth's surface. Dust from deserts does not remain confined to its origin. It can travel across continents and oceans, influencing ecosystems far away. For example, dust from the Sahara regularly crosses the Atlantic Ocean, delivering nutrients like phosphorus to the Amazon rainforest, linking distant environments in unexpected ways. Deserts also play a role in regulating global climate, as their surfaces reflect significant amounts of sunlight back into space, influencing temperature balances. At the same time, airborne dust can affect cloud formation and atmospheric chemistry, making deserts active participants in Earth's climate system rather than passive landscapes. Despite their harsh conditions, deserts are home to a surprising diversity of life, including microorganisms that live within rocks, protected from radiation and desiccation. These microscopic communities demonstrate that life can persist in conditions once thought uninhabitable, expanding our understanding of where organisms can survive. Some deserts experience seasonal fog rather than rain, providing a crucial source of moisture for specialized plants and animals. In coastal deserts like the Namib, fog rolls in from the ocean, condensing on surfaces and sustaining life forms that have adapted to capture and use this subtle form of hydration. Over time, deserts can give rise to fertile soils if conditions change, as wind-blown dust accumulates organic material and minerals. When rainfall returns, these soils can support vegetation, illustrating how deserts are not permanent states, but phases within Earth's dynamic environmental cycles. Even the silence often associated with deserts is an illusion, as winds generate low, resonant sounds when moving across dunes, sometimes producing deep vibrations known as booming dunes. These natural acoustic phenomena add another layer of complexity to environments that, at first glance, seem empty and still. Across vast geological timescales, entire deserts can emerge where oceans once existed, as shifting tectonic plates raise seabeds into dry land, leaving behind fossilized shells and marine sediments. These remnants tell stories of ancient climates that were far wetter, revealing how dramatically Earth's surface transforms. In some regions, layers of limestone embedded within desert rock still contain traces of long-extinct sea creatures. Beneath the surface of many deserts, hidden aquifers store water that accumulated thousands or even millions of years ago during wetter climatic periods. This ancient groundwater, sometimes called fossil water, can remain trapped beneath impermeable rock layers, sustaining isolated oases. When accessed, it provides vital resources for human settlements, though its slow replenishment means extraction must be carefully managed to avoid permanent depletion. Towering dust storms, known as haboobs, can sweep across desert regions with immense force, lifting vast quantities of sand and fine particles into the atmosphere. These walls of dust can rise several kilometers high, reducing visibility to near zero and reshaping surface features. Such storms are driven by collapsing thunderstorms, where cooled air rushes downward and outward, carrying sediment across the land. Rather than being lifeless expanses, biological soil crusts cover large portions of desert ground, composed of cyanobacteria, lichens, and mosses that bind soil particles together. These living layers help prevent erosion, retain moisture, and contribute nutrients to the ecosystem. Though fragile and slow to recover when disturbed, they form a critical foundation for desert life and influence how landscapes respond to environmental stress. Certain desert regions experience rare but powerful flash floods, where dry riverbeds known as wadis suddenly fill with rapidly moving water after distant rainfall. These events can reshape terrain within hours, carving channels and redistributing sediment. Despite their brief duration, such floods play a crucial role in transporting nutrients and supporting bursts of plant growth across otherwise arid terrain. Over extended periods, wind-driven erosion can sculpt natural stone arches and delicate rock pillars, gradually removing softer material while leaving more resistant formations intact. These structures stand as evidence of persistent abrasion, where sand-laden winds act like a natural sand-blasting force. Their shapes often appear almost architectural, reflecting the slow but steady influence of environmental forces. Temperature extremes in deserts can place intense stress on living organisms, yet some species have evolved proteins that remain stable under such conditions. These biochemical adaptations allow enzymes to function despite heat and dehydration, enabling survival where most life would fail. Studying these organisms has even informed scientific research into biotechnology and medicine. A surprising number of deserts are located at high altitudes, where thin air and low atmospheric pressure contribute to arid conditions. These cold deserts, such as those found in parts of Central Asia, combine low precipitation with freezing temperatures, creating environments where ice and dryness coexist. Life here must adapt not only to scarcity of water, but also to reduced oxygen levels. Shifting patterns of vegetation can influence whether a region becomes more desert-like over time, as plant cover helps retain soil moisture and stabilize the ground. When vegetation is lost due to overgrazing or climate shifts, land may become more vulnerable to erosion and drying. This feedback loop can accelerate desert expansion, a phenomenon often referred to as desertification. Some desert insects have developed the ability to harvest water directly from the air by condensing fog on their bodies. The Namib beetle, for instance, positions itself to capture moisture on textured surfaces, guiding droplets toward its mouth. This adaptation demonstrates how even minimal atmospheric humidity can become a reliable water source under the right conditions. Ancient trade routes once crossed vast desert regions, connecting distant civilizations through networks of caravans that transported goods such as spices, silk, and salt. These routes required detailed knowledge of terrain, seasonal conditions, and water sources, turning deserts into corridors of cultural exchange despite their harsh environments. Large desert basins can act as natural traps for heat, where air circulation is limited and temperatures rise significantly during the day. In some of these locations, recorded surface temperatures have exceeded 70 degrees Celsius, making them among the hottest measured on Earth. These extremes highlight the powerful interaction between solar radiation and land surface properties. Over millennia, layers of wind-deposited dust known as loess can accumulate along the edges of deserts, forming highly fertile soils once stabilized by vegetation. These deposits have supported major agricultural regions, demonstrating how materials originating in deserts can contribute to productivity far beyond their source areas. The coloration of desert landscapes often reflects the minerals present in the soil and rock, with iron oxides producing reddish hues and gypsum creating pale, almost white surfaces. These colors can shift dramatically under different lighting conditions, giving deserts a dynamic visual character that changes throughout the day. During nighttime hours, some desert plants open their stomata to exchange gases, reducing water loss by avoiding the heat of daytime conditions. This adaptation, known as CAM photosynthesis, allows them to store carbon dioxide for use during daylight, balancing the need for growth with the necessity of conserving moisture. Evidence of ancient human habitation in deserts includes rock art, tools, and remnants of settlements that date back thousands of years. These findings indicate that many deserts were once more hospitable, supporting communities that adapted to changing environmental conditions before eventually migrating or developing new survival strategies. In certain regions, strong and consistent winds have made deserts ideal locations for renewable energy generation, particularly wind and solar power. The abundance of sunlight and open space provides opportunities for large-scale installations, positioning deserts as important contributors to future energy systems. Underground burrowing is a common survival strategy among desert animals, providing shelter from extreme temperatures and predators. By retreating below the surface, these animals can access more stable conditions, where temperature fluctuations are less severe and humidity is slightly higher than above ground. Despite their stark appearance, deserts can preserve footprints, tracks, and other markings for extended periods due to the lack of rainfall and slow rates of erosion. These traces offer valuable insights into animal behavior and movement patterns, capturing moments in time that might otherwise be quickly erased in more dynamic environments. Far above many desert regions, subtropical high-pressure systems persist year-round, suppressing cloud formation and steering storms away, which reinforces long-term dryness. These atmospheric conditions are not random, but part of global circulation patterns that shift slightly with the seasons. As a result, desert boundaries can subtly migrate over decades, expanding or contracting, depending on broader climate oscillations that influence precipitation and temperature distributions across continents. Unlike the loose sands often imagined, desert pavement forms when wind removes finer particles, leaving behind tightly packed stones that interlock over time into a stable surface. This natural layer reduces further erosion by shielding underlying soil from wind exposure. Walking across such terrain reveals a surprisingly firm ground, shaped not by deposition, but by the gradual removal of everything light enough to be carried away. Along certain desert margins, ephemeral lakes known as endorheic basins collect water that has no outlet to the sea, meaning all incoming flow is balanced only by evaporation or seepage. Over time, dissolved minerals accumulate, increasing salinity and forming environments where only highly specialized organisms can survive. These basins serve as records of climatic variation, their changing water levels reflecting shifts in rainfall and evaporation rates. Within desert skies, temperature inversions can trap layers of warm air above cooler ground-level air during the night, influencing how heat dissipates after sunset. This layering alters wind behavior and can contribute to the formation of low-level dust clouds that linger near the surface. Such atmospheric dynamics illustrate how even in sparse environments, complex interactions between air and land continue to shape conditions. Ancient wind directions are sometimes preserved in the orientation of fossilized dunes, now turned to stone through compaction and mineral cementation. These lithified dunes, known as erg deposits, provide geologists with clues about past climates and atmospheric circulation. By studying their structure, scientists can reconstruct environmental conditions from millions of years ago, offering a window into Earth's distant past. Certain desert reptiles regulate body temperature by altering their position relative to the sun, raising or lowering their bodies to control heat absorption from the ground. This behavioral adjustment allows them to remain active even when surface temperatures fluctuate dramatically. Their scales also reduce water loss, combining physical and behavioral adaptations that enable survival in highly variable thermal environments. Where desert meets ocean along western continental edges, cold ocean currents play a critical role in maintaining arid conditions by stabilizing the atmosphere and limiting evaporation. These currents cool the air above, reducing its capacity to hold moisture and preventing cloud formation. The result is a narrow strip of land where dryness persists despite proximity to vast bodies of water. Across expansive dune fields, different dune shapes emerge depending on wind patterns and sand availability, including crescent-shaped barkans and star dunes with multiple arms extending outward. Each form reflects a specific balance of directional winds, offering insight into prevailing atmospheric conditions. Over time, these shapes can transform as wind regimes shift, making dune landscapes dynamic records of environmental change. Embedded within desert rocks, desert varnish forms as a dark coating composed of clay minerals, and oxides of manganese and iron, slowly accumulating over thousands of years. This thin layer results from complex interactions between microorganisms, dust, and moisture. Its presence can provide clues about exposure age, as older surfaces tend to exhibit more developed varnish compared to recently exposed rock. During rare rainfall events, some desert soils repel water initially due to hydrophobic compounds produced by microorganisms and plant residues. This causes water to run off rapidly rather than soak in, increasing the likelihood of flash flooding. Over time, however, repeated wetting can break down these compounds, allowing infiltration to improve temporarily before dryness returns. Hidden beneath certain desert surfaces, ice can persist in permafrost layers, particularly in cold deserts where temperatures remain below freezing for extended periods. This frozen ground limits water movement and root growth, creating unique ecological conditions. When seasonal thawing occurs, it can briefly release moisture, supporting bursts of biological activity before refreezing sets in again. Through long-term erosion, isolated rock towers known as Inselbergs rise from otherwise flat desert plains, remnants of more resistant rock that has withstood surrounding weathering. These formations often stand as solitary landmarks, their steep sides shaped by both wind and occasional water flow. Their presence highlights the uneven nature of erosion, where some materials endure far longer than others. Some desert birds have developed the ability to fly long distances in search of water, timing their movements with seasonal changes or rare rainfall events. Their navigation relies on memory, environmental cues, and possibly magnetic sensing, enabling them to locate scattered resources across vast, seemingly featureless terrain where survival depends on precision and endurance. In regions where volcanic activity has occurred, lava flows can create deserts of hardened basalt, forming dark, rugged landscapes that absorb heat efficiently. These volcanic deserts differ from sandy ones in texture and composition, yet they share the defining trait of minimal precipitation. Over time, weathering breaks down the rock surface, gradually contributing to soil formation. Patterns of cracks in dry desert mud result from the shrinking of clay-rich soils as water evaporates, creating polygonal shapes that repeat across large areas. These formations can harden and persist, sometimes being preserved in the geological record as indicators of past drying conditions. Their geometry reflects physical properties of the soil as well as environmental factors during formation. Along desert coastlines, strong winds can lift sand into the air and deposit it directly into the ocean, contributing to sediment transport between land and sea. This interaction influences coastal ecosystems and can even affect marine nutrient cycles. Such exchanges illustrate that deserts are not isolated systems, but interconnected with broader environmental networks. Certain desert mammals possess highly efficient kidneys that concentrate urine to minimize water loss, allowing them to survive with limited intake. This physiological adaptation reduces dependence on external water sources and reflects evolutionary pressure to conserve every possible drop. Combined with behavioral strategies, it enables life in regions where water is scarce and unpredictable. Over centuries, human activity, such as irrigation and land clearing, can alter desert environments, sometimes leading to increased salinity in soils as water evaporates and leaves behind dissolved salts. This accumulation can render land less suitable for agriculture, demonstrating how interactions between human systems and arid landscapes must be carefully managed. At times, large-scale climatic events like El Niño can temporarily alter rainfall patterns in desert regions, bringing unusual precipitation that disrupts established ecological rhythms. These shifts may trigger growth spurts in vegetation, followed by increased animal activity, before conditions return to their typical arid state. Such variability highlights the sensitivity of deserts to global climate influences. Even the night sky above deserts appears particularly vivid due to low humidity and minimal cloud cover, allowing stars to shine with exceptional clarity. This visibility has made deserts important locations for astronomical observation, where the absence of atmospheric interference enhances the ability to study distant celestial objects and phenomena. Beneath shifting layers of desert sand, entire ancient river systems remain buried, detectable today through satellite imaging that reveals subtle variations in ground composition. These paleochannels trace paths where water once flowed freely, supporting vegetation and wildlife in climates far wetter than today. Their discovery has reshaped understanding of desert evolution, showing that many arid regions experienced repeated cycles of humidity and dryness across geological history. Across certain desert regions, wind can sort sand grains by size and density, creating ripples with remarkable uniformity that extend for kilometers. These patterns form as grains hop and settle in response to airflow, producing textures that resemble fluid motion frozen in place. Close examination reveals that even slight changes in wind speed or direction can alter the spacing and alignment of these intricate surface features. Deep within some desert caves, mineral formations grow slowly as tiny amounts of moisture seep through rock, depositing layers over thousands of years. These speleothems provide valuable climate records, as their chemical composition reflects past rainfall patterns. By analyzing them, scientists reconstruct environmental conditions long before written history, offering insight into how deserts have expanded and contracted over time. In the vast emptiness of certain dune fields, sound behaves differently due to the uniformity of the aerial surface, allowing noises to travel farther than expected. This acoustic property has been studied to understand how terrain influences sound propagation. Under specific conditions, even small disturbances can be heard across surprising distances, adding an unusual sensory dimension to these expansive environments. During prolonged droughts, some desert plants shed leaves entirely, reducing surface area and limiting water loss while relying on stored energy within stems or roots. This survival strategy allows them to endure extreme dryness without sustaining permanent damage. When moisture returns, new growth can emerge rapidly, demonstrating resilience shaped by repeated exposure to unpredictable environmental conditions. Far from being uniform, desert soils can contain layers rich in nutrients, particularly where organic matter accumulates from rare biological activity. These pockets of fertility support localized ecosystems that differ significantly from surrounding terrain. The distribution often depends on subtle variations in topography, water flow, and wind deposition, highlighting the complexity hidden within seemingly barren landscapes. Under certain lighting conditions, desert horizons can produce optical illusions such as superior mirages, where distant objects appear elevated or distorted due to temperature gradients in the air. These visual phenomena occur when light bends as it passes through layers of air with different densities. Travelers throughout history have reported seeing phantom lakes or floating landforms as a result. Along the edges of some deserts, seasonal grasses can briefly transform the landscape, stabilizing soil and providing food for herbivores before drying out again. This temporary vegetation plays a role in preventing erosion during its growth phase. Its presence depends on precise timing of rainfall, demonstrating how even short-lived changes can influence broader ecological stability. Hidden within desert rock formations, fossilized footprints capture moments from prehistoric eras, preserving evidence of animals that once traversed wetter environments. These trace fossils provide information about behavior, movement, and species interactions. Their preservation in arid conditions allows scientists to study ecosystems that vanished millions of years ago, offering glimpses into ancient life. Certain desert regions experience katabatic winds, where cold, dense air flows downhill under the influence of gravity, accelerating as it descends. These winds can become powerful, shaping surface features and redistributing sediment across large areas. Their influence adds another layer to the complex wind systems that define desert environments and contribute to ongoing landscape transformation. Within the structure of some desert plants, reflective surfaces help reduce heat absorption by bouncing sunlight away, lowering internal temperatures. This adaptation allows them to maintain cellular function under intense solar radiation. Combined with water conservation strategies, it illustrates how plants have evolved multiple mechanisms to cope with the challenges of arid climates. Across time, shifting tectonic activity can alter drainage patterns, isolating basins and contributing to desert formation by preventing water from reaching the sea. These changes influence regional hydrology and can lead to increased evaporation within enclosed areas. Over long periods, such geological factors interact with climate to determine whether a region becomes arid or remains fertile. Among the smallest inhabitants of deserts, microbial communities can enter dormant states for years, reactivating only when moisture becomes available. This ability allows life to persist through extended dry periods that would be lethal to more complex organisms. Their resilience highlights the adaptability of life at microscopic scales within some of Earth's most challenging environments. Near desert mountain ranges, alluvial fans form where sediment carried by water spreads out as flow velocity decreases, creating cone-shaped deposits. These features record episodes of water movement, often associated with sudden rainfall events. Over time, they build layered structures that reflect repeated cycles of erosion and depositions along desert margins. Within certain arid zones, gypsum crystals can grow into large, translucent formations under the right conditions of evaporation and mineral concentration. These crystals, sometimes reaching impressive sizes, develop slowly in stable environments where disturbance is minimal. Their clarity and scale create striking visual contrasts against otherwise harsh and fragmented terrain. Across many deserts, the lack of vegetation allows sunlight to heat the ground intensely during the day, contributing to strong convection currents that influence local wind patterns. These rising air currents can interact with broader atmospheric systems, affecting weather conditions beyond the desert itself. Such interactions demonstrate the broader climatic significance of arid regions. Some desert fish species survive in isolated pools, that remain after ancient water systems dried up, adapting to extreme temperature fluctuations and limited resources. These populations are often genetically distinct due to long-term isolation. Their existence provides evidence of historical connections between water bodies that have since disappeared. In high-latitude deserts, snow may fall but rarely accumulates deeply due to low precipitation overall, creating conditions where cold and dryness coexist. These environments challenge the common perception that deserts are always hot, expanding the definition to include regions where water remains scarce regardless of temperature. Even subtle variations in elevation within desert landscapes can influence water distribution, determining where moisture collects after rare rainfall. These differences shape microhabitats that support distinct plant and animal communities. Over time, such small-scale variations contribute to the broader diversity found within arid ecosystems. At the margins of certain deserts, ancient lakebeds reveal finely layered sediments that settled year after year, capturing a chronological archive of past climates. These varves, as they are known, can be counted much like tree rings, allowing scientists to estimate how rainfall patterns shifted over centuries. Subtle changes in grain size and composition within each layer reflect alternating periods of wetter and drier conditions. Through the lens of satellite observation, vast desert regions display enormous geometric patterns created by natural forces, including linear dunes stretching for hundreds of kilometers in parallel alignment. These formations arise under highly consistent wind regimes, where direction remains stable over long periods. Their scale is so immense that individual dunes can only be fully appreciated from space, emphasizing the planetary reach of desert dynamics. In regions where groundwater reaches the surface, mineral-rich springs can create small but persistent habitats surrounded by otherwise harsh terrain. These oases support clusters of vegetation and wildlife, forming ecological islands that depend on stable water sources. Their existence often determines migration routes for animals and has historically guided human settlement patterns across otherwise inhospitable expanses. Long before modern climate science, early civilizations living near deserts developed intricate calendars based on seasonal wind shifts and rare rainfall events. These observations guided agriculture, trade, and survival strategies, reflecting a deep understanding of environmental rhythms. Archaeological evidence shows that such knowledge was essential for sustaining life at the boundaries between fertile land and encroaching aridity. Across expansive salt flats, polygonal cracking patterns can extend over large distances, formed as saline mud dries and contracts repeatedly. The geometry of these shapes reflects a balance between evaporation rates and soil composition. Over time, new layers can form atop older ones, preserving a stacked record of environmental conditions that can be studied to understand long-term changes. Within certain desert ecosystems, seeds may remain viable in the soil for decades, waiting for specific combinations of moisture and temperature before germinating. This long-term dormancy allows plant populations to persist through extended unfavorable conditions. When the right conditions finally occur, synchronized growth can transform the landscape in a relatively short span. Far beneath desert surfaces, some caves contain trapped air bubbles within mineral deposits that preserve samples of ancient atmospheres. By analyzing the gases inside these inclusions, researchers gain insight into past concentrations of carbon dioxide and other components. Such findings contribute to understanding how Earth's climate has evolved across vast stretches of time. Occasionally, desert winds generate vortices known as dust devils, which lift columns of sand and debris high into the air as heated ground creates rising currents. These spinning formations vary in size and intensity, sometimes reaching heights of several hundred meters. While usually short-lived, they play a role in redistributing surface material and shaping small-scale features. At the boundary where desert meets grassland, transitional zones known as ecotones exhibit characteristics of both environments, supporting diverse species adapted to fluctuating conditions. These regions can shift over time as climate patterns change, expanding or contracting depending on rainfall and temperature trends. Their dynamic nature makes them important indicators of environmental change. Embedded within desert cliffs, layers of volcanic ash from distant eruptions can serve as time markers, allowing geologists to correlate events across different regions. These ash deposits, carried by wind over long distances, settle and become part of the sedimentary record. Their unique chemical signatures enable precise dating of geological sequences. In certain arid mountain regions, glaciers can exist despite surrounding dryness, fed by localized precipitation and protected by cold temperatures. These isolated ice masses contribute meltwater to nearby areas during warmer periods, creating temporary streams. Their presence illustrates the complexity of desert environments, where cold and arid conditions can coexist within close proximity. Over extended durations, chemical weathering in deserts can produce distinctive soil layers enriched with calcium carbonate, forming hardpan surfaces beneath the topsoil. These layers, sometimes called caliche, restrict water infiltration and root growth. Their formation reflects interactions between evaporation, mineral content, and limited moisture availability. Among desert-adapted amphibians, some species survive by burrowing underground and entering dormant states during dry periods, emerging only after rainfall to breed. This strategy allows them to avoid desiccation while taking advantage of temporary water sources. Their life cycles are closely tied to unpredictable environmental cues. Across certain dune systems, vegetation can anchor sand in place, stabilizing the landscape and preventing further movement. These plants trap wind-blown particles, gradually building up mounds that evolve into fixed dunes. This interaction between living organisms and physical forces demonstrates how biological factors can influence geomorphology. In regions with extreme dryness, organic material decomposes very slowly, allowing plant remains and other biological traces to persist longer than in more humid environments. This slow breakdown contributes to the preservation of archaeological artifacts, providing valuable information about past human activities and ecological conditions. At times, strong temperature gradients between desert surfaces and overlying air can create powerful updrafts that attract soaring birds, allowing them to travel long distances with minimal energy expenditure. These thermal currents form an invisible network that migratory species use to navigate across arid landscapes. Within desert sediments, tiny magnetic minerals align with Earth's magnetic field as they settle, preserving a record of geomagnetic changes over time. By studying these alignments, scientists can reconstruct shifts in the planet's magnetic orientation adding another dimension to the information stored within desert deposits. Along some desert coastlines, interactions between wind and waves can produce unique landforms where dunes extend directly to the shoreline, creating overlapping influences of marine and aeolian forces. These hybrid environments illustrate how different natural systems can converge, shaping landscapes in complex ways. In certain locations, prolonged exposure to sunlight can alter the chemical composition of surface rocks, a phenomenon known as desert weathering, leading to color changes and structural weakening. This gradual transformation contributes to the breakdown of rock into smaller particles, feeding the ongoing cycle of sediment formation. Even the faint traces of ancient rainfall can leave lasting marks on desert surfaces, etched into rock as channels or grooves that persist for thousands of years. These features serve as reminders that even rare events can shape the landscape in enduring ways, leaving behind evidence of water's influence in places now defined by its absence. Across immense stretches of arid terrain, ancient wind corridors have persisted for thousands of years, carving consistent pathways that guide modern sand movement. These corridors influence dune alignment and sediment transport, acting like invisible highways shaped by atmospheric stability. Their longevity reflects how certain climatic patterns remain remarkably steady over geological timescales, allowing landscapes to evolve in ways that preserve directional consistency across vast regions. Hidden beneath hardened desert surfaces, networks of root systems from long-dead vegetation can remain preserved as organic imprints, revealing periods when plant life was more abundant. These subterranean traces offer clues about past ecosystems and rainfall levels, helping scientists reconstruct environmental transitions. In some cases, they indicate that areas now barren once supported grasslands or even sparse forests before conditions shifted. Along certain desert plateaus, wind-polished stones known as ventifacts display flat faces and sharp edges formed by persistent abrasion from sand-laden gusts. Each facet corresponds to a dominant wind direction, effectively turning the stone into a natural compass. Over time, these features become increasingly defined, recording subtle shifts in airflow that might otherwise leave no visible trace. Beneath clear desert skies, intense solar radiation drives photochemical reactions in surface minerals, gradually altering their structure and composition. This exposure contributes to the breakdown of rocks into finer particles, complementing mechanical weathering. The combination of sunlight and dryness creates a unique environment where chemical changes occur differently compared to more humid regions. At the intersection of desert and river systems, ephemeral deltas can form when sudden floods deposit sediment into dry basins, briefly creating fan-shaped patterns that resemble those found at permanent water bodies. These temporary features may last only until the next wind event redistributes the material, yet they provide insight into how water intermittently shapes desert landscapes. Within some arid basins, underground salt layers can expand and contract in response to changes in moisture, causing the ground above to rise and fall slightly over time. This movement can create subtle surface undulations and fractures, illustrating how even hidden components of desert geology influence visible terrain. On rare occasions, desert regions experience snowfall that melts rapidly under sunlight, delivering a brief pulse of moisture to the soil. This sudden input can trigger immediate biological responses, from microbial activity to plant germination. Although short-lived, such events highlight the responsiveness of desert ecosystems to even minimal environmental change. Across wind-swept plains, fine dust particles can become electrically charged through friction, leading to small-scale electrostatic interactions that influence how grains cluster or disperse. These forces, though subtle, contribute to the behavior of airborne sediment and can affect how dust settles after being lifted into the atmosphere. Within isolated desert valleys, temperature differences between shaded and sunlit areas can be significant enough to create localized air circulation patterns, influencing how seeds, spores, and fine particles move. These microclimates add complexity to ecosystems that might otherwise appear uniform, supporting pockets of biodiversity shaped by subtle environmental variation. Embedded in certain desert rocks, ancient pollen grains remain preserved, offering a record of vegetation that once existed in the region. By analyzing these microscopic remnants, scientists can reconstruct past climates and understand how plant communities responded to shifts in temperature and moisture over thousands of years. Along stretches of desert terrain, naturally occurring asphalt-like substances can seep to the surface from underground hydrocarbon deposits, forming sticky patches that trap dust and organic material. These features provide unique microhabitats and have even preserved fossils by encasing biological remains in protective layers. In areas where desert winds converge from multiple directions, complex dune formations can arise that shift shape over time, reflecting the interplay of competing airflow patterns. These dunes may not migrate in a single direction, but instead grow vertically or change orientation, demonstrating the variability of atmospheric influence. Deep beneath certain deserts, tectonic activity can create geothermal pockets where heat from Earth's interior warms groundwater, occasionally bringing it closer to the surface. These hidden systems may support rare thermal springs, offering localized environments where life can persist under conditions very different from the surrounding landscape. Across some desert regions, ancient meteorite impacts have left craters that remain well preserved due to minimal erosion. These structures provide valuable information about extraterrestrial collisions and their effects on Earth's surface. The clarity of these features in arid environments allows scientists to study impact mechanics with remarkable detail. Within desert ecosystems, some fungi form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, enhancing water and nutrient uptake in exchange for carbohydrates. This underground partnership improves plant survival in nutrient-poor soils, illustrating how cooperation between organisms can overcome environmental limitations. At times, large-scale atmospheric dust transport from deserts can influence weather patterns far beyond their origin, affecting cloud formation and even hurricane development over oceans. These interactions demonstrate that desert regions play an active role in global climate systems, extending their influence across vast distances. In certain desert landscapes, long, straight ridges of gravel, known as desert stripes, form through the sorting of materials by wind and water, creating alternating bands of coarse and fine particles. These patterns can stretch for considerable distances, reflecting the combined effects of erosion and sediment redistribution. Beneath arid ground, pockets of trapped gas can accumulate from decomposing organic material or geological sources, occasionally escaping through small vents. These emissions may alter local soil chemistry and, in some cases, create visible disturbances on the surface, linking subsurface activity to observable features. Across desert environments, the absence of dense vegetation allows ultraviolet radiation to penetrate more directly to the ground, influencing both biological and chemical interactions. Organisms that live in these conditions often develop protective adaptations, such as pigments or structural changes, to withstand increased exposure. Even in landscapes defined by dryness, traces of ancient shorelines can sometimes be identified as subtle ridges or terraces, marking where water once stood at different levels. These features provide evidence of long-term environmental change, capturing moments when deserts were shaped by bodies of water that have since vanished. At the edges of certain desert basins, thin layers of clay can trap moisture just beneath the surface after rare rainfall, creating temporary subsurface reservoirs that persist longer than visible water. These hidden pockets allow roots and microorganisms to access hydration even after the ground appears dry, extending biological activity beyond the brief presence of surface moisture and subtly influencing plant distribution across otherwise parched terrain. Along certain desert slopes, gravity-driven movement of loose material, known as dry landsliding or creep, gradually shifts rocks and sediment downhill over long periods without the need for water. This slow motion can rearrange entire surfaces, forming subtle patterns and accumulations at the base of inclines. Though almost imperceptible in the moment, its cumulative effect reshapes terrain and contributes to the ongoing evolution of desert landscapes. Within some arid regions, naturally occurring nitrates accumulate in the soil due to minimal rainfall washing them away, creating highly concentrated deposits over thousands of years. These compounds have been historically significant, particularly in places like the Atacama, where they were mined for use in fertilizers and explosives. Their presence reflects the unique chemical stability that deserts can maintain under prolonged dry conditions. As our journey through desert formation and global landscapes comes to a close, allow yourself to sink even deeper into relaxation. Feel the vast horizons stretching infinitely, the sands carrying the quiet weight of time. Let the gentle sensations of wind over dunes and the warmth of sunlight seep into your body and mind, softening every thought and muscle. Drift alongside the contours of Earth's arid regions, feeling how each desert, ancient and modern, holds space for calm and stillness. Rest here, fully supported in this safe and serene space. If you enjoyed this relaxing moment, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and turning on all notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. But for now, let your body relax, release any tension, and allow your mind to drift. Good night and sleep well.